Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Shykoh. If it's your first time here, you're very much welcome. And to the new subscribers, thank you so much for subscribing. Feel at home, and I hope you enjoy my content.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side.
So today guys, I want to take you through the process of applying for a study visa in Norway, and you can also call it a residence permit, because when you apply for a study visa in Norway, if you're gonna stay here for more than 3 months, then you apply for a residence permit. I had shared a lot of information about studying in Norway in my previous videos, which I will link here if you have not watched, especially the one on applying to study in Norway. So I don't want to dwell so much on the application process. So once you apply for a school in Norway, if they accept you, they send you a letter of admission. In the admission letter, there is detailed information on each and every process you require, like the next steps, so you don't have to struggle. So when you're applying for a Norwegian visa, you need to go to a website called UDI. Just type UDI on your laptop or your phone, and you can be able to go to the website, and there you can see the different categories of visas, whether it's a visit visa, fiance visa, study visa. Then you will click on that and you will see the requirements, but of course I'm gonna also share with you guys on this video. And also included in my admission letter that the permit process takes up to 3 months. So it was important for me to start applying for the permit process immediately, because that I was supposed to report to school in August. I got my admission letter in April, so I had that application window to apply for the permit and also wait for my results. One amazing thing I loved about applying for a student visa to Norway is they don't interview, like you don't go for a physical interview, neither an online interview. Like there is no interview, you just submit the documents and you wait for your answer. And if there is something they've missed in your application, they always communicate either through email or text. You need to submit this, and then you do. But if you submit like a good application with everything they've asked of you, then you just wait for them to grant you the visa, to like give you the response. I applied the visa on 12th of April and I got my response on 19th June. So that was like less than 3 months, but it's good to play safe. So apply, give yourself a window of 3 months to get the response. But guys, it's so amazing that they don't ask you for an interview. If you're applying to other countries, for example the US, you have to go for an interview and they'll ask you a lot of questions. But in Norway, no questions. You just submit your documents and wait for your response. One of the easiest ways to move abroad is honestly applying for a study visa. I know in USA people can be denied study visas, but especially when I was applying in this period, all the people I talked to, nobody was denied the study visa. So I think a study visa is one of those easy ways to penetrate to a country. So to be eligible to apply for a Norwegian student visa or residence permit, you must provide an official letter of acceptance issued by your hosting school, Norway University or Education Institute or Polytechnic. So the school should be able to send you an admission letter if they accept your application. That's the first document that you need to apply for the student visa or the residence permit. So you're supposed to pay a visa application fee to the Norwegian embassy. Once you select that you are applying for a study permit to study in the university, from the website you can see it's 5,900 Norwegian crowns, and as per now that converts to 68,900 Kenya shillings. When I was applying for my visa, the exchange rate was crazy. I paid 81,000. I was prepared to pay 68,000, but then the conversion rate was crazy. And also I think Equity charged me a lot to convert the money. When you're paying this amount, you just put your bank details, the card details, and they deduct the amount automatically from your bank. So I think the exchange rate with Equity was crazy, because I paid 81,000. It was so expensive. And but right now if I check the exchange rate, it's 68,000. But depending on the time you're paying and the exchange rate at that time, it fluctuates. But all you should know, it's 5,900 Norwegian krones to apply for the visa. After applying online at the UDI, filling in the forms and paying the visa application fee, they send you an email, and in the email they send you a checklist of the required documents. They also leave a link for you to VFS, a link for the VFS website, which is where you go check in the available times for you to book an appointment, and you book a date and time. Once you book that, they will also send you another email from VFS now confirming and giving you an appointment letter, and you need to also print that appointment letter because they're gonna ask for it when you go to submit your documents. You do not take your documents to the embassy of Norway. You don't go to the Norwegian embassy, no, you go to VFS. VFS is located at Parkfield 5th floor in Mudangari Drive off Wayaki Way in Westland. You do not deal with the embassy physically, you deal with VFS to submit the documents and also to receive the visa once you've been granted. So for the documents needed physically, you need a passport and copies of all used pages, and this should be in colored, like the copies of the passport should be colored. You also need a signed letter from the application portal, which you're gonna find at the UDI website, and just print it out, fill it in, and you're also supposed to bring that. You also need 2 recent passport size photos with a white background, and for these passport size photos you need to tell your photographer when you go to the studio to take the photo, they need to have the specific dimensions of the Norwegian embassy. In Kenya, I went to Reinsurance Plaza. Yeah, it's called Reinsurance Plaza. Ground floor, there's a studio there, and most people applying for visas to different countries go to that studio because they know the dimensions of different, like when I went, they just asked me, which country are you applying? I told them, and they just took the photo. So the passport photo needs to comply to their requirements. So need, of course, the admission letter from your school, the institution you're gonna go study. You also need documentation of funds, which is the funds that you need to cater for your living expenses. As much as studying in Norway is free, you need to cater for your living expenses. And as you guys know, Norway is not a cheap country to live in. So they need you to document at least 128,887 per year. So this amount is per year, and it's not this amount you pay to the school, because this amount should only be paid to a Norwegian bank account. And since you do not have a Norwegian bank account, your school provides you with an account to deposit the money. So you deposit the money to your school's bank account, and they give you a statement, which is the documentation of funds that you use when submitting your documents at VFS. In case you've applied to a school where you need to pay tuition fee, you also need to document that you are able to pay the tuition fee. But most people who come to Norway as students do not pay tuition fee because we apply to public schools to show that you have somewhere to live in Norway. That can either be private accommodation or the school's accommodation. So in case it's the school's accommodation, the school gives you in the admission letter and in the email the school sends you when they are sending you the admission letter, they ask you if you need school accommodation, and they give you a link to how and more information on how you can apply the student accommodation. And they actually just help you pay that. They deduct from the amount from the 128,000 that you're gonna deposit in the school's bank account, they can deduct the housing money for you, and then they give you the contract, the documentation of housing that you print out and use when submitting your documents to the embassy as proof of housing. In case you will be hosted by someone else, for example, I don't live in school, I'm hosted by someone else, so you also need to have a document that is like a contract, a house contract for the person hosting you. And in case you're renting outside school, which I wouldn't advise, school accommodation is cheaper, way cheaper. In case you want to rent outside school, you are also given the contract by your landlord, and that is also what you use to document as your housing. Then you need the UDI checklist, which is this checklist that has all those information on what you need to bring. They also need the checklist signed, filled and signed. So those are the documents basically you need to take with you to VFS physically when you're going to submit the document. In case you want someone else to apply for you, which honestly there is no need, this is such a simple and direct process, then you can sign a power of attorney form, for example, for the a lawyer or someone else to do the application for you. That's if you're not able to do it. But honestly, guys, it's so easy. In case you're rejected, the amount you deposited to school for upkeep, that one the school can be able to refund. But the application fee for the visa at the embassy, that one is not refundable. So, but it's honestly so rare for them to reject for them to deny someone a study visa. Honestly, I don't know anyone who has been denied a study visa to Norway. Maybe there are some, but I honestly personally don't know anyone. So chances are very rare for them to reject, unless like you didn't provide the documents that they required. And the program you're studying must be full-time. You must be a full-time student. Also, the visa is like 1 year. The residence permit you issued is valid for 1 year. So the next year you have to repeat the same process. But for the following year, you can either deposit the funds if you don't have a part-time job. But if you have a job, you can use the contract from your workplace to document to show that I'm able to cater for my own expenses. In case you're granted a study permit, then you're also automatically granted permission to work 20 hours a week as a student. But during the summer holidays, you can work full-time. Your husband, your spouse, and your children are also allowed to come and live with you in Norway. How amazing is that? But then also it comes at a price. I can do a separate video if you want me to talk about that. Please just mention in the comment section if you want me to talk about moving to Norway with your family. A quick run through of how to apply for a student visa. Once you have received your letter of admission, the school will give you an account number where you're supposed to transfer funds. I feel like these funds are, first of all, the most important thing, because if you don't have these funds, even though you pay for the visa application fee, then you cannot be granted the visa without documenting the funds. So by the time you're applying for school, you need to know, where am I going to get these funds in case I'm granted the visa? And high chances are you are going to be granted the visa. And in case you're not the one depositing the funds, someone else can deposit the funds for you. So you just share the account number and the school account details with them, which will be shared with you by the school. So you just give them, they deposit the money. And once the money is deposited, either by you or the person paying the money, the school sends you a statement, a letter which shows that you have paid, and that is called the documentation of funds, which you print and take with you to the VFS when submitting the document. My school was all the information was in the admission letter, and they were like following up. And you can also ask the school in case you're stuck at any process. So once you have all the documents required, I would advise you have like 2 copies of everything. My sister helped me in my process. I had like 2 copies of everything. So when I went for my appointment, she also took me. Thank you so much, Koi, by the way. Guys, subscribe to her YouTube channel. Her name is Mwangi. And in case you're watching this and you're interested in like just visiting Norway, you're not a student, so maybe you want to visit, she has a lot of information for that. Visit and fiancé visa application, because she has used both of those visas to Norway. Anyway, so she really guided me through my process. She made sure I had 2 copies of everything that was required of me. So I had 2 envelopes, one with everything that I'm supposed to submit to VFS, and another one just in case. And she didn't tell me that this one is just a backup. I actually thought I'm gonna submit both of them, but she was like, no, this one was just for emergency. So have like a backup, because you might go to sign something and you mess it up, like just have a backup, because printing at VFS, they have printing services and they have photocopying services, but it's so expensive. So I would just advise you go with your documents ready, everything ready. Also, VFS charge an application fee, 3,830 Kenya shillings, and there's an SMS fee for 105, and I paid a courier fee of 775. So in total, I paid VFS 4,710. So this one you pay after submitting your documents. So this one you pay physically. So there is the amount you used when applying for the visa through UDI, the 5,900 Norwegian krones. There is the amount you're supposed to deposit in school, 128,887 Norwegian krones. And there is this VFS fee, 4,710. Those are, of course, the most important amounts. Of course, the flight as well. I didn't use any insurance. I didn't pay for travel insurance or health insurance, because once you come to Norway and you're granted the permit, the residence permit, then you also access health services affordably here. But yeah, it's important you note that you're also going to pay 4,710. Preferred VFS sending a courier to bring the passport to me once I had been granted the visa, instead of me going to pick it up from them. And it was actually faster that way, because if you're waiting for them to call you again for you to go pick it up, I find like it can be a delay. But if you have paid the 700 courier fee, then they'll just come to your door and they'll give you your documents. This is how I received my passport back. I think it's just easier to pick the courier option, but this is something when you are booking the appointment, they ask you the services you want. If you want SMS to be updated on the process, if you want courier, then those are extra fees, but it totals up to 4,710 shillings as per the amount needed to apply for the study permit. Those are the important figures. As I mentioned, I didn't pay for insurance, any form of insurance, though it can be advisable to do so, but for me I didn't, and I have not had any problem. When booking a flight, I used Qatar Airways, and I booked a one-way trip. It costed around 75,000 Kenya shillings. If you book a two-way, depending on the season, for me when I was booking the flight, it was a bit late, so I didn't have many options. So in case if I had booked the trip earlier, I could have maybe even gotten a return ticket for the same amount, but I didn't have many options, so I just booked Qatar, and yeah, it was quite a swift process. In case you didn't watch my moving vlog when I was coming to Norway from Kenya, please do that. I will include it somewhere here, and also I'll include it in the description box as well. Basically, that's the process for me. It was quite an easy process, honestly. Also, for their visit visa, they don't have an interview, so after receiving my passport here with the visa, it was valid from 20th July 2022, so I couldn't travel before 20th July, and it was valid until 1st September 2022. So it's not like this is like the permanent thing. This is just to help you move to the country, and then after you get there, you're supposed to actually, once you're granted the visa, you're supposed to book a police appointment, because when you get to know, you're supposed to go to the police for your appointment to now get the residence permit, and you should do that in 7 days, within 7 days. So after getting into the country, you should have 7 days to go to the police. So you should have booked a police appointment even before coming, because sometimes they are overbooked. I had booked earlier, so I had already a date within the time frame, the 7 days. But it's very important. That's like a very important thing, to book the police appointment early. So immediately you get the permit, book a police appointment, so that when you get to the country, you'll just go to the police for your appointment before it's time before like you exit the 7 days. My school had actually organized a day for students to go to the police. They had booked an appointment for the students, but I had not arrived at that time, so I had to book my own separate police appointment. And once I went to the police appointment, they take your fingerprints, they take your photo, a lot of things, and after that then you are granted the residence permit, which looks like this. And it's basically like an ID card, and it's valid for 1 year as well. So what they put in the visa, they put in the passport, is not valid for 1 year. Once you come here, it's when you get the residence permit, valid for 1 year. But of course this one helps you the immigration process. So I'm planning to do another video where I'll share the pros and cons of studying in Norway. So also, if you have any questions, kindly leave them at the comment section below. Remember to subscribe to my channel. I will honestly be sharing with you guys all my experiences here in Norway, living here, studying here, and whatever else the Lord brings my way in this country. So I hope that you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next one, kwaheri.